Celebrated production at the Redgrave Theatre in Farnham of Noel Coward's patriotic pageant, Cavalcade, are told from first rehearsal to glittering first night in Cavalcade, a backstage story.
In 1931, Noel Coward had a smash hit running in London, Private Lives, with a cast of 4. In November of that year, to the astonishment of his cronies, he commenced rehearsals for a new play at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, which would give work not to 4, but 90 actors.
Well, you've come here on exactly the anniversary of the...
Indeed I have.
Of the first night.
First night in London.
Right, in London. Yes. What do you remember about it?
Oh, I remember I was then a lieutenant in the Navy, and I felt incredibly patriotic when it was over.
Yes.
I left the theatre in a state of great euphoria, prepared to sell my life dearly for practically anything.
And have you ever lost that patriotism?
Never.
You have it still?
And it's rekindled tonight and the last performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please take your seats as this evening's performance of Cavalcade is about to begin.
Well, yes,
Please take your seats as this evening's performance of Cavalcade is about to begin.
Those gallant many who opened in Cavalcade stayed on for a long run. Despite the Depression, the play was a smash hit, and indeed, Coward described it as a play for a crisis. The original cast repaid the author 1,000 times over in green room yarns and anecdotes. It was a very memorable production, never to be repeated, quite outrageously Noel.
Your Act 1 beginners call, ladies and gentlemen. Act 1 beginners.
Hells, Bowser!
Act 1 beginners. Stand by, please, stage management, LX and dressers. Stand by, stage management, LX and dressers.
And now, 50 years on, in another crisis period, the play's first ever professional revival. The most triumphant, the most remarkable, and for purists, the most unexpected. A professional cast of 13 with what the master might have called generous assistance from others. The venue, the Redgrave Theatre Farnham, a professional repertory of some 300 seats, and waiting in the wings, the same number of eager amateurs. Not just Miss Worthington, but her mother, her grandmother, and all the Worthington kith and kin. Their first cue, a line only Coward could have written.
How very polite for the 20th century to wake the shoes.
Their first entrance, something that would have given even him pause.
Good afternoon. I'm David Horlock, and I'm the director of Cavalcade. See, and this is my assistant Simon Whitfield, who's the assistant director, as you can see. And you'll be seeing a lot of us during the next few weeks. Now, I'd like to welcome you all, because I know that a lot of you are from dramatic societies in the area, but in fact, a lot of you aren't from dramatic societies, and quite a lot have never been on stage before. So what you're going to want to know is what Cavalcade is all about, what you've actually let yourselves in for. Well, first of all, it's a very, very big show. It's the biggest show you'll ever have seen. It'll certainly have been the biggest show that you'll ever have been in. It's about the first 30 years of the century, and it's about the British people, and that's why you're here, because you're the British people, and I can tell you that you're hardly ever going to be off stage. There is a story of two families who lived through these 30 years, and they're the smaller scenes, but there's an awful lot of big scenes. It's mainly big scenes, and those are the scenes that you're going to be in. There's the Boer War, there's the theatre scene, there's Kensington Gardens, there's a ballroom scene, you'll be dancing, there's a street market, then there's the Edwardian seaside, and then we do the First World War. Now, we need to know whether you can do all the performances. And as you leave, would you please just write down on a piece of paper your availability, in other words, the nights which you cannot do.
Excuse me, it is just for 6 nights, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's 6 weeks.
Oh.
Right, we're going to start with the seaside scene. Now what we're going to do is ask you now to think among yourselves what you'd like to be at the seaside, and Simon and I are going to come down and divide you up, cast you into groups. Okay, let's get that.
Well, what would you do? For many of the amateur casts, this much freedom is intoxicating.
What's your name?
Brenda Huggett.
Oh, Brenda. Do you live in Farnham?
Yes.
Yeah. And what do you want to do at the seaside?
Well, I've got a genuine 1910 rugby jersey.
Have you? Oh, that's marvellous. Oh, that's great.
Deck chair attendant or something.
That's great. We haven't got a deck chair attendant. And I think we've got some pictures actually.
Right, so seaside. Have you had any ideas what you'd like to do? What about you?
Pension Julie or something.
How about I think I'll put you together as a courting couple. You can walk on the pier and be totally jolly.
You did.
I felt silly, actually.
No. Yeah, it's a thing to do. I mean, you really asked. Have you decided what you'd like to do on the beach?
Well, I'd like to promenade, actually.
Right. Have you got anyone to promenade with yet?
No.
Well, come with me. Right. There you are. Right. Okay.
I'm promenading.
Trevor, Lydia.
How you doing?
Right. Okay. You're going to be promenading and you'll be up on the pier. Going where you want.
A deck chair attendant?
Yes. Well, I'm playing man's part, you see.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
What, in all the scenes?
Yes, I'm a soldier in the Boer War and various other things. I don't know all of them yet, of course, because he hasn't done all the scenes.
They must be short of men.
They are.
What's your name?
Brenda. What's yours?
Karen.
Ah. What are you playing?
Oh, I'm just sort of a general woman.
Oh.
Most of the things.
Farnham isn't the largest or brashest town in southern England, but there's been professional theatre here since 1939. The Redgrave Theatre was built in 1974 as a consequence of enthusiastic local subscription. It's extremely professional. With 17 productions a year, it's never dark, and with this one, it's certainly giving them what they want.
The only seats we have available are for matinees, and then the next 2 weeks are fully booked, and after that, matinee seats only. Would that be any help? Yes, all right. Sorry, thank you.
Of course, with an amateur cast of 300, the theatre has in prospect the stone certainty of sell-out performances. The beautiful little bandbox auditorium faces a stage that is normally set small or smallish. But for Cavalcade, it's going to be everything except the seats, as David Horlock explains to the backstage crew, his designers, and front of house staff.
Now, as you see, the stage is the biggest we've ever had. In fact, it couldn't get any bigger. That's because the show is the biggest that we've ever done. The cast is going to be over 300. And that means that we're going to be using something like 1,500 costumes during the course of it. Although we're using the stage there, we're actually using all the doors in the theatre as entries and exits. The dock doors here, the auditorium, entries, exits, all the way around the theatre. It's like one enormous stage. And it's going to have to be planned like a military operation. The show actually goes through the first 30 years of the 20th century. It starts with the Boer War, it goes through, there's a theatre scene, it goes through to the death of Queen Victoria, then there's a ball scene, there's an enormous London scene, then we go through to the seaside, then we do the First World War.
But the only problem is when we come to the funeral scene, we've got people coming in through the dock doors there, and they're all in black. And then we're on a black set. And so I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. I don't know what to do, really.
Designer Claire Burks, staring glumly at a cardboard representation of Jennifer Wilson of television's The Brothers, who's coming in for this one production.
I think they want to walk in and out of the light.
Lighting man Peter Hunter.
They will actually walk through. Yeah.
The rehearsal of the professional company is still a long way off.